Hello, it's Tristan here from Zebra Invest, and today I'm just outside one of the properties we've recently agreed to purchase. It's the Central Hotel in Norwich, a beautiful property with 17 bedrooms in total across the whole place. Unfortunately, the current owner has been taken into repossession, as you can kind of walk around inside the property. I'm not going to take you in today, but it's a little bit tired, a bit dated, but actually it's perfectly suited to a different type of client. So what we're thinking of doing is taking the property on and actually splitting it and converting it into two properties. So in Norwich, we suffer with something called nutrient neutrality, which means that you're not able to get planning permission through unless you can demonstrate that your project is going to be nutrient neutral. But quite fortunately, in this property, where we've had 17 bedrooms before, we're going to be reducing the numbers and splitting it into two properties. But why is this property a gem? Well, if you watch my other video all about guest houses, buying guest houses and splitting them up, you will know. But I'm going to pop round, take a look at the front and show you why. So here we're right by the river in the city centre, and the train station literally just there, but the property is right behind me. And the reason it's interesting is you can see it's actually arranged as two properties. If you literally follow my hand up here, you can see that's one. And then if we go over again, you can see that other doorway goes up, and that's two. So originally it was going to be two terraced houses, or it has been two terraced houses that have been knocked together. And all the way along this road, we've got other hotels that have done exactly the same thing. We've got the Aspen Hotel there, Station Hotel just on the corner there, and up here we've got more commercial properties. So the idea is to simply turn this into two HMOs. And the reason I mention nutrient neutrality is we should be able to reduce the total number of people in the property, and then we should be able to get a lease straight on the building and pass out to someone like Serco, who have done a video before on, or even to a local assisted or supported housing provider. So planning permission is going to be an excellent way to be able to lift the value of this property. By achieving planning for two properties, we're going to drastically inflate and increase the value of the property. Based on my calculations, it should be worth around about £1.1 million once it's done. But this property, and even if you manage to find out, have a look online, is suffering with a few issues. And this is why we've got it agreed at this price. When you look at the side of the building, you can see there's quite a lot of cracking running all the way up and through the building. But when you look at other properties in the area, you can see there isn't the same cracking. So the issue here is likely a topical one, something that's local just to this building, and especially just to this corner of this building. When you look at it, you can see just down here, this is where it's got a whole load of old drains. The old drains we've had inspected, and it appears that they've been leaking. And as they leak, they then take away some of the foundation underneath the property, causing it to move. But you can get a company that come along and they inject resin into the ground. And when you inject resin into the ground, they inject it at 3 different levels, and then they can then force the building and the foundations back up. And also, if there's anything that's eroded or been removed underneath the building, it's then going to sit on that really nice and comfortably, and it won't move in future. So once we've got that done, we can then work on the brickwork on the outside of the building, replacing any of the bricks that are split, damaged, or anything like that, and then putting in heli-fix bars, which are kind of like bars that kind of spread the weight and the load across the building to make sure it doesn't move. What are the figures like? Well, on this property, we've got a purchase agreed at £575,000. We had a local agency come out and value it, a company called Pinders. They've been rather friendly and rather helpful with valuing it. And then, so when it comes to it, we've got the purchase agreed at £575,000. It was on the market for £650,000, where offers went to best and finals. With this, we then looked at all of the figures and kind of looked at the size of the building. It roughly works out around about 400 square metres. And being 400 square metres, it means that it quite easily splits and should value up to about £1.1 million on a pound per square foot. The interesting bit is because we're on a main road, it's a little bit more difficult to value and compare to other properties in the area. There aren't going to be many like it, and there aren't others that are going to be HMOs of this size. So we've done a lot of digging, had a look at a lot of other properties that have sold in the area, what's happened in the past, to then be able to work out two values, so one for each of them. But we've also looked at the yield valuation. So when you look at properties, you can take a commercial valuation of property. Typically, this is going to change depending on your area and dependence on what income's going to be. But typically, a real simple rule of thumb in Norwich, if you can base it on a 10% yield, then you're going to be able to get that kind of uplift. So in this property, we've managed to get we've already got a company called Serco, or I mentioned earlier. They're looking to rent the whole place out for £8,000 a month, which works out as £96,000 a year. And if we base that about 10% yield, that then brings us in at just under £1 million. If it's at 9% yield, which we tend to get valued at in Norwich, then that brings us up to about the 1.1 million. So it should be an excellent project. Once we've got the whole of the keys and be able to walk you around and show you the project, I'll take you in, give you a whirlwind of a tour, and hopefully this place will be turned around and be back on the market in about 3 months. If you like this video, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you've got any comments or questions, drop them below. Cheers!